Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. I know I always start my videos off like this. It has been a very long time and I apologize. It's just very hard juggling being a new mom, being a realtor. I also started another business as well on top of trying to make video content for you guys, and I am trying to somehow get into some type of routine. That way I can start putting out more and more content for you guys because I like making videos. So more videos are to come, but I just wanted to come on and do a quick video now that I have some time right now, because I've been getting a lot of questions from new realtors, people who are starting to get go into real estate school, looking to get licensed and all that. So I figured let's just do a video of the top 5 questions that I get from new agents or potential new agents, and let's just dive right into it. So the number one question I think I get from a lot of people is now a good time to get into real estate? I know there's a lot of misconception about the real estate market right now. I know we kind of went through a crazy market, and now it seems to slow down a little bit. So a lot of people are scared to get into this market considering all factors. However, I still think it's a very good time to get into real estate. I personally like this market a little bit better. So what we saw last year and the year before was a very big seller's market. Inflation hit hard where property values went up by 19% plus, and a lot of sellers wanted to take advantage and sell their homes. And with the low interest rates, a lot of buyers wanted to take advantage. So it was complete chaos. Buyers were getting outbidded left and right. Sellers were getting top dollar for their home. The inventory just wasn't there to meet all of that buyer demand. So that's why we had a very big seller's market, and that's why the market moved very quickly, and it made buyers very discouraged. However, now with the increase in inventory and the buyer demand dwindling down a little bit because of interest rates, it's more of a steady market, which I think a lot of realtors actually enjoy. Realtors don't have to tell buyers they need to go crazy amounts over asking, waiving contingencies. It was just a very difficult market for buyers. However, now, like I said, with the higher interest rates, which they are still not very high, they're more realistic at this point, and the inventory increasing, it's stabilizing the market a little bit, where buyers have a better opportunity to get in to properties, and sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes because values are not going down. So there is a lot of competition out there for realtors. A lot of people became realtors within the past couple of years. I think there was about 156,000 new realtors within the past year, and that's nationwide, obviously. So the competition is still there. It just depends if you're willing to put in the work, the time, and the effort, and the consistency to make this a successful business for yourself. Now, there are a lot of realtors out there, but not a lot of realtors have this as their full-time job. A lot of realtors are doing this part-time. It's a side gig for them. And personally, I think to be successful in this business, you have to be full-time. You have to put 100% of your effort and time into it, because it does take a lot to get business. And I guess I will kind of jump into a little bit of what the next question is I get a lot is, what should I know when getting into this business, or some tips that I should know, or anything that I should know when starting out as a real estate agent. And my number one thing is, this business is not easy. It's not something that clients are going to fall into your lap the second that you post that you're a real estate agent on social medias. And that's what I thought it was at first too. I did a lot of social media content pushing out there that I'm a realtor, and I was seeing no traction from it. And it can get very discouraging very quickly, because one, you're putting time into these posts, two, you expect people that you know and people in your community to use you now that you're a real estate agent and putting it out there. But it's not a reality. It's just not how it happens. So if you're willing to put the time and the effort and the consistency into this business, you will definitely do okay. Now, the average time it takes an agent to actually get their first deal is about 6 months to a year. So it's going to take a little bit for you starting out. Especially if you're not coming from any type of real estate background, it could be very difficult to get your first client. But once you get that first client, once you get that second client, you start building this momentum. And one, for me, that just becomes very motivating to keep on going and to keep building my clientele and to keep just kind of going with real estate, but just know that it is going to take some time. You also need to understand that you're going to get rejected a lot in this business. Things are going to happen that you possibly can't wrap your head around, or you just want to throw your papers up in the air and quit. But rejection is a big thing that you need to learn to cope with in this business. No matter how seasoned you are as an agent, no matter how long you've been doing this as an agent, things are going to happen where you're going to get rejected, especially making phone calls with people on the phone, leads that are coming through. You're going to be making those phone calls and people are going to tell you to F off, don't call me, don't contact me. You're going to get yelled at sometimes. But you just need to realize that don't take it personal. It's just business. It's just how the business is. Especially when making phone calls, you can sometimes sound like a telemarketer, and a lot of people don't like that. So they're just rude to you because they don't understand that you're an actual real human on the other side of things. And especially being in some transactions, things can happen that you don't agree with, or things can happen that can feel very discouraging, and it's just the nature of the business. So just be open to rejection because it is going to happen, and it's okay. That's just how it is, and you just have to kind of push that to the side and just, I basically use the rejection as a way of motivating myself to kind of push and do better. It's kind of like I'll show you type of thing. And as long as you have that type of mentality and that brain power to kind of push through that rejection and not let it sit and dwell with you, then you'll definitely be okay in this business. So another question that I've been getting from people that have already gotten their license, they're newly licensed, but they're not hanging their license with a broker yet, is how do I find a good broker, or how do I find a good team, or who should I associate myself with? So my number one thing is looking at teams, because I think that being a part of a team is going to help new agents out in this business tremendously. But being with a team has what helped me become a very successful agent. And when I first started, I was with a broker, just a small brokerage, and I was with them for about 6 months to a year. I don't remember specifically, but I didn't do one transaction. And then once I transitioned into a team, that's when I learned basically everything I know about real estate was through team leaders. And it's just always good to have that person to go back to ask questions and to run transactions by, and also just having a group of team members who may have been in the business a lot longer than you, who are very seasoned and successful agents, to kind of run things by them. So it's good to have a good community of people in your little circle to just kind of go through scenarios with, to do role playing with, to ask questions, and just to basically give you the experience and the knowledge that you need as a realtor in this field. Being with a broker is a little bit different than being with a team leader. So a team leader is under a broker, and then so it's the broker, the team leader, and then it's all of the agents. Whereas some agents can just go directly underneath the broker. But however, that's when you become basically a solo agent, and you need to basically delegate everything to the broker. And depending on how big the brokerage is, it may be hard to get your questions answered. It may be hard to just get in touch with him in general. Just depends on, obviously the size of the brokerage. I mean, the brokerage that I'm with, like, I call my broker for many things as well too, but it just kind of depends on what area you're in. And you just need to understand that a broker is sometimes overseeing many agents, so it's hard for them to basically sit down and teach you the ropes of the business, to hold your hand through transactions. And that's kind of something you want, especially being new in this business, because for me, I've been in it for 4 years, but every transaction, I've never had one transaction that is the same. All of my transactions have multiple things that come up that sometimes I don't know how to deal with, and I will call my team leader and ask for insight, or I'll call another seasoned agent on the team and I would ask them for insight or recommendations. And it's just good having all of that knowledge around you to ask questions for. And it's also nice too, because we go for meetings all the time. We kind of put all that brain power together on how to market ourselves, how to brand ourselves, which is technically the same thing, just new things to get listings, to get buyers, and just how to become successful in the business. And when you're a solo agent, sometimes it can get boring because you're not around a lot of people to talk to, and you kind of just feel like you're by yourself all the time. Where I feel like, even though I'm an independent contractor, I have other people around me at all times that I can just always reflect back to that if I need to. And I just personally like being around people, and I feel like being in the real estate field, it is a team business. Like everybody is working on the same team. We're all working towards that same end goal, which is whether selling a property or buying a property. The loan officers are on the same team, and it's just a team. Like, I feel like you need to have that team mindset to really do well in this business. Besides from that, the way that I would go about that is maybe look at other agents within your community who are on teams and ask them if that team member is looking to hire more agents. Or you can go through your bigger brokerages and see if they have any team leaders that you could potentially interview with, or just finding team leaders on Instagram or any social media and just reaching out to them directly and seeing if they would be willing to take on new agents, or if you can interview with them, because you want to make sure that that team or that brokerage is a good fit for you, as well as vice versa. But you want to make sure that who you're going to associate with is people that you can actually get along with. Another question I get asked is, what are some good ways to market myself as a new agent? How do I get my name out there? How do I let people know that I'm a new agent? And there are many ways that you can do this. One, use social media to your Use social media to your advantage. If you're good at social media, use it. I have gotten quite a few leads, clients, and transactions through social media, and I feel like that's where I kind of shine in the business a little bit, is through my social media platforms, because one, I love content creating, and I just love social media. I love the content and the marketing of social media. So I would post valuable free content out there for buyers and sellers. So if they come across my Instagram, they see that, you know, I'm a knowledgeable resource in the field, and hopefully they're comfortable coming to me and asking me for questions on their real estate needs. So I just always stay consistent and up to date with my social media platforms, whether that be posting my solds, my under contracts, or just valuable content. I've been utilizing Reels a lot lately now as well, because Instagram is pushing out Reels a lot more than they are just regular branded content. And then you can run Facebook ads, you can run Instagram ads. That's another way as well. Another thing for newer agents is sending out postcards or letters to people in your sphere. Now, your sphere are people that already like, know, and trust you. So if you have their addresses, recommend just putting together some note cards, put in your business card, and send it off to their address and let them know that you are now a licensed agent, and hopefully they'll use you in the future. The one thing that a lot of people need to understand is that you need to stay top of mind to the consumer, because there are a lot of agents out there that are pushing content every single day. Basically kind of shove it in their face so they never forget you when they need a real estate agent. If you're thinking of ways to get addresses, one way is if you are someone who is married, you can go by your list of people that you send invitations to, which is one way, because those are all people that already know you. Get their addresses, send them over a postcard or a letter with your business card in it. Or if you had any type of event that you had to get people's addresses for, take that list and send it on their way. And then another way is to just find them on Facebook and just send them a quick message on Facebook and say, hey, you know, I just want to let you know that I just recently got licensed with blah, blah, blah brokerage. And if you ever have any questions on buying or selling, or if you need any assistance in the future, whether it become buying or selling, definitely let me know. I would love to help you out. And that way now they know that you're a real estate agent. It's just really getting yourself out there to become top of mind. Another way is to geofarm, which is finding an area or location that you want to really dive into. So a lot of people, such as myself, I basically stay right around my hometown and the surrounding town that I'm in now. So I grew up in one city and now I'm in a town that literally borders it. So that's where I basically geofarm. So I'll send out postcards monthly, especially in my neighborhood, because there's nothing worse than walking down your street and seeing a for sale sign by somebody else on your street, because it has happened before. And again, that's the rejection right there, where you have to use that as motivation and kind of just constructive criticism to, you gotta get your shit together and send out postcards to your neighborhood. So sending out the postcards and doing it monthly. Postcards are something that could take up to a year to get any traction on. So that's the thing where you need to stay consistent with it, even if you're not seeing any result from it right away. It takes time. So the geo farming, the social media, and another thing with geo farming is door knocking, which I started doing as well with another teammate of mine, which is also great about having a team, is you can do this with somebody. So the door knocking, which is just going into neighborhoods in your community and where you want to actually market yourself and knocking on their door to talk to them, because chances are people are going to be less likely to be rude to you if you're standing in front of them. Whereas on the phone, they don't know who you are, so they don't care how they treat you or how they act towards you. So door knocking may seem scary, but at the end of the day, they're actually a lot nicer. Another way to actually just get business is calling expired and withdrawn listings, calling for sale by owners. There's just a lot of different ways to get the business. And then also, obviously, if you're with the team who provides leads, really utilize that platform that they use, the CRM that they have. Dive into that lead dashboard and call all of those leads. It's just free money that's basically sitting there. So really just making your phone calls and having a good script, knowing what to say, and that's where the role playing can come into account, or watching YouTube videos. I have lots of YouTube videos on me cold calling people as well, with actual real conversations that you guys can look back at as well. But that's what I did. I looked at a lot of YouTube videos and just listened to people and how they structured their conversation, and I just got little tidbits of information from that and kind of used it into like my own flow of talking to people. So that's some ways of getting business as a new agent. Now here is the big one that I can't wait to talk about. And this is for people who are actually already in the real estate field that I would get these questions from. It is, how do I tell buyers that now is a good time to still buy? Or what should I tell buyers who want to wait out the market? So I've been saying this a lot on my social media lately. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. And what that basically means is no one can predict the market. No one knows where the market's heading. If we could predict the market, I think we'd all be millionaires at this point, because we would be able to predict the stock market. You can't predict it. A lot of people who wanted to wait until the market slowed down when the rates were 2.5%, 3.5%, now are basically kicking themselves in the butt because they didn't take advantage of those interest rates because they thought values were too high. Well, now we're at a point where interest rates are a little bit higher, but values never went down. So people think that we're going to have a market crash, which is not going to happen. Why? Because we are still at a very low inventory. The inventory may have picked up. We're still at nowhere near the buyer demand that's out there. The market is basically just stabilizing. We're not going to crash. The values aren't going down because there's not a surplus of inventory sitting on the market. And there's still a good amount of buyers that are looking, because in reality, a 4.5%, 5% interest rate isn't knocking out all the buyers that are looking right now. There are still plenty of buyers who can afford homes, so the buyer demand is still there, as well as low inventory, even though the inventory is rising. So what I tell buyers right now is, back when the interest rates were around 3%, say, roughly, they would have to spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over asking to get their offers accepted. May even have to waive an inspection. May even have to offer $5,000 to $10,000 over appraised value. Whereas now, with an increase in inventory and the buyer demand still there but slowing down a little bit with higher interest rates, you could potentially purchase homes at list price right now. So you're basically not offering $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over that list price. Now you're coming in right in at, say, $350,000 instead of $400,000 at a lower interest rate. So essentially, you could still be paying less money for a home today than you would have when interest rates were lower, but having to pay a crazy amount over asking. So I just tell them that you don't, and one of my loan officers that I use that I had on my YouTube channel, she made a very good point. You don't marry the interest rate, you marry the purchase price. So what that means is, what you're purchasing that home at, that's it. That's the value that you just purchased your home at, and that will never change. You may have a 5.5% interest rate, but if rates drop, you can refinance. That rate can change whenever you want to refinance, if and when rates drop. So you're not stuck in that 5% interest rate, but now is a great time to buy that home at list price, because if rates drop again, that's where we're gonna see that market where people are gonna have to offer a crazy amount over ask again, because rates are low, buyers will have more buying power. Therefore, they're gonna have the money to put over ask. So again, instead of paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 over asking, you're paying a little bit higher interest rate for a home that's valued at the list price rather than over list price. So that's really how I dive into it with buyers, because a lot of buyers think now with the high interest rates that it's not a good time to buy, when actually it's a better time right now for buyers to get in, lock in that home, and if they want to wait until interest rates drop, if and when they ever do, you can go ahead and refinance, but you already secured that property at that value. Sometimes it's a little hard for buyers to understand that, but if I put it into that perspective for them, sometimes they can understand that either way it evens itself out. It either evens itself out, or essentially you can pay a little bit less right now. So those were really the 5 most frequently asked questions that I get. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and put together this video for you guys, because I know a lot of new agents that just became licensed, a lot of agents or a lot of people who want to become licensed. So I hope this video helped you guys out, kind of answered some of those frequently asked questions for you guys. As always, if you have any other questions, drop them down in the comment section below. Shoot me a DM. My contact information's everywhere, so if you want to get in touch with me, you know how to do so. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video, which will be soon, I promise you. I have video ideas lined up that I'm just ready to dive back into recording for you guys, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks so much for watching.